This is Dr. Andrew Jones. In this edition of Veterinary Secrets, I'm going to be discussing natural anti-inflammatories for dogs and cats. Hello you guys, welcome again to this edition of Veterinary Secrets. Today I'm discussing natural anti-inflammatories. I mean, it's coming up now for me personally, in part because I'm, believe it or not, getting close to 50, got these increasing aches and pains, which is having me think about reaching for the anti-inflammatory bottle. As well as my dog Lewis here. He's nearly 13. He's really started to slow down. He's got arthritis on his front shoulder, some arthritis affecting his hips. So he's got stuff going on as well too. So with both of us, it has me thinking about what are some of the natural options. So side effects from the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, those conventional anti-inflammatories that many of you have taken, many of you have given your dog, and probably some of you have given to your cats. Here's one that probably many of you have taken yourself, aspirin. And their whole class, they're called NSAIDs, or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. And they can go by different names. You can think of Vioxx, Celebrex. For animals, think of something like meloxicam, Rimadyl, carprofen is the drug name. A whole variety of different NSAIDs. Some of the big issues with them, one huge percent of side effects. In terms of, they're the obvious ones of vomiting, diarrhea, where it's upsetting your stomach, upsetting your pet's stomach. It can then secondary affect the organs. The National Kidney Foundation estimates up to 10% of cases of kidney failure are directly as a result of NSAID or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug use. So a huge percent. Also can cause liver disease, reported incidence of seizures, sudden death, a variety of different side effects. And in part it makes sense in terms of you've got these pretty strong drugs that are suppressing inflammation. Yes, they may help your dog feel better, suppressing inflammation perhaps in that sore joint, suppressing inflammation for you perhaps in that one sore part of your body. But then those have to be metabolized, hence you have conditions such as kidney disease, liver disease. Secondarily too, yes, they may be suppressing inflammation, but at the same point they're blocking the release of these protective hormones called prostaglandins in the stomach, the upper intestinal tract. And that can lead to then the stomach irritation and gastric ulceration, etc. It's estimated that 70 million prescriptions are written each year for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and over 30 billion are sold annually. It's huge. The drug companies have since gone on to form supposedly safer anti-inflammatory drugs, such as Vioxx, and they were called sort of COX-2 inhibitors. So they're supposed to be selective, where they were going to allow the prostaglandins to be released in the stomach. They're not going to suppress those, or those are the protective ones for the stomach, but suppress the prostaglandins in the damaged tissue, say in your sore muscle. So then the problem with some of the COX-2 inhibitors is that they showed up as double the risk of some serious event, such as myocardial infarction or heart attack, doubling the risk of stroke. So the first natural inflammatory I want to discuss is this one here. It's fish oil. The big point is you need to be giving a high enough dose, and it has to be long enough. So you're looking at therapeutic levels of 1,000 milligrams per 10 pounds of body weight daily. That's substantially more the majority of the dogs and our cats are on. They're great in terms of safe for both dogs and cats. We know it has direct anti-inflammatory benefits. And what's really impressive is that it will help work in conjunction with whatever else your dog is on. So if your dog is on an anti-inflammatory drug, you may be able to slightly lower the dose if you have them on a high enough dose of the EFAs. If your dog is on another herb for arthritis, such as curcumin or Boswellia, which we're going to discuss, then they may be able to be on lower doses, or they may be effective in combination. But that's the first one, fish oil. The second one is a homeopathic. This one here is Arnica, Arnica 30C. It's a great one for you guys to have on hand. I also have it in combination with a cream called Tromiel. It's kind of one of the real base homeopathics. If you're going to use any ones, I want you to try with the Arnica. It's one where you've got an acute injury where Lewis is really painful. I'll go ahead and give him some Arnica. I'm looking at a pretty standard dose where I suggest one of the 30C capsules for 10 to 20 pounds of body weight. And that can be given every 2 hours in an acute injury, or it can be given sort of once or twice daily long term. And what I like to do is just sort of minimally touch it, just put it under his lips, as I'm doing here. Lewis, there. There. And just have him slowly absorb it and or swallow it. So there it is, that's Arnica 30C. The next one is a bioflavonoid. It's a naturally occurring product. It's found in high concentrations in the peel of the apple, and it's called Quercetin. It's one that I've discussed in the past for allergies, but I wanted to bring it up in this video, in particular for our dogs and our cats that have urinary tract disease, and they've got these painful inflamed bladders. And what it is you're wanting to give them something to take away some of that pain, that inflammation, potentially also help their bladder, as an example. So this is Quercetin. A concentration in this particular bottle here is 250 milligrams of Quercetin. So that's about Lewis's dose, and he would be getting one of these once daily. So you're looking at a Quercetin dose of 20 to 25 milligrams per 10 pounds of body weight daily. My fourth suggestion is one that you probably haven't thought of as well too. It's here, green tea. It's got a whole number of different beneficial properties within it itself. It's one that I've discussed as not just an anti-inflammatory, potentially as helping prevent cancer, many of these chronic diseases, because there's just so many therapeutic properties within green tea itself. And we know in some of those countries where there's high green tea consumption, and they have less cardiovascular disease. They have less incidence of cancer. So clearly we know it's beneficial. In terms of how to give it to your dog or how to give it to your cat, I mean, a really easy thing would be to make a big cup of green tea. So you're looking at about a tablespoon of this green tea here. You could also get it as a capsule formation. So you're just looking at about a tablespoon of green tea. I'll just show you close up so you can see what it looks like there. There it is, just natural green tea leaves. In about a cup of warm water. And just go ahead and add that to your dog's water twice a day. A real simple thing. When they're looking at a protective dose for for us, they're saying 3 to 4 cups of green tea a day. Be giving a dog like Lewis, a cup in the morning, a cup in the evening, where you're just actually adding it to his water. The fifth one I wanted to discuss is curcumin. Here it is here. I've discussed it in the past as an anti-inflammatory to help for skin disease, if you've seen any of my other videos. The big thing about curcumin is you need to get the active ingredient within turmeric, and you want to be getting the 95% curcuminoids, which is what I have here. And you're looking at a dose of somewhere between 50 to 100 milligrams per 10 pounds of body weight daily. So this one here is a 400 milligram capsule, and if I was looking at Lewis's dose of 50 milligrams per 10 pounds, he's almost he himself is almost 100 pounds. He'd be needing almost this entire capsule, a little over it, 400 to 500 milligrams. And based on his size and his level of arthritis, I'd be inclined to give him one of these capsules twice a day. The next herb here is called Boswellia. It's a herb primarily found in India as well. It's also known by the name of frankincense. So here it is here. This is called Boswellia Serrata. So that is a specific herb that you need to be looking for as far as being anti-inflammatory, especially being beneficial for our pets that have arthritis. The standard sort of human dose is about 300 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day. So we're going to scale that back. We're looking at Lewis would be getting, he's approximately half the size of a standard human, so he'd be getting about 150 milligrams, and I would be dosing him twice a day, so he'd be needing either half a capsule twice a day or 1 capsule a day. So this is their Boswellia. Show you it here. The convenient thing is, for the majority of times, if you're going to get these capsules, you're not having to deal with the liquid or the dried herb itself. Well, here is the Boswellia in the capsule formation. I wanted to mention So I've just discussed curcumin and Boswellia. I just finished reading about a study where they can actually compare. This is for people that had active osteoarthritis. So you're very painful, and yes, they're trying to have what are some of the other natural anti-inflammatories. So they compared them. They were taking diclofenac, a pretty potent non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, and they compared them to these same control group took Boswellia and curcumin in combination. So they were taking curcumin at 400 to 600 milligrams 3 times a day, Boswellia 300 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day. Those two in combination versus the group that was taking the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug diclofenac, and the group that took these two herbs in combination had better pain control, reported a faster reduction in pain, and virtually no incidence of side effects. So huge. Unfortunately, I mean, none of that becomes common knowledge. But if you're looking at an animal, you've got your dog, such as I have Lewis here, and he's becoming increasingly painful, and you're wondering what are some other natural options. Well, here's two in particular, and I'm going to be starting him on those. So I'd be happy to give you an update in another month or so and tell you how he's responded to these two herbs in particular. The last natural anti-inflammatory I want to discuss is Frankincense Essential Oil. So that's Boswellia that we just discussed. But here it is as an essential oil combination. And there's a couple different ways it can be used. One, it can be used topically. So you can be taking 2 to 3 drops, up to 5 drops, diluting that, mixing that down in 2 tablespoons of a carrier oil, such as olive oil, such as coconut oil. And then you can be massaging different areas of your dog. That works well, especially if you've got a dog that has knee arthritis, or yourself too. Then the other option is start to putting that in orally. So I've just started to put this into Lewis's water. He's getting 2 to 3 drops in the morning, another couple drops in the evenings. I'm just mixing that into his water. He's happily drinking his water, so I know he's enjoying the taste of it. But it's another way for me to get Boswellia. So that's what the frankincense, the actual herb, is called Boswellia. Another way for me to get that into him, then potentially get those beneficial natural anti-inflammatory effects. The Boswellia should be cautiously given to dogs orally. It needs to be given very diluted. Secondly, you never want to give any essential oil orally to a cat. Thank you for watching this edition of Veterinary Secrets on natural anti-inflammatories for dogs and cats. What I want you to do now is first click that link in the box above. That can subscribe you to my channel. Then you can go ahead and click that link in the box below, and I can send you my free books and videos on how to heal your dogs and cats at home with my top natural remedies.